You tapped in with Caden. I know you saw it. The world saw it. We're going to discuss the mega fight between Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. Some people are split on the decision, and some people are screaming robbery. Before I jump in and give you my opinion, let's listen to what Artur Beterbiev had to say about those who are screaming robbery with this decision.
You know that you just said that this wasn't your best performance. How do you respond to them saying that basically they deserve the win?
You know, they can say anything.
Tonight.
So you heard Artur Beterbiev, very simple, very plain, straight to the point. They can say anything. In the end, his job's to fight. The judges score the fight. Now, before I'll get to my scorecard a little bit later. I'll start by saying this. I do not think it was a robbery, and I think Artur Beterbiev deserved the decision. Now I'm going to get into why I think Artur Beterbiev deserved the decision. First things first, Bivol was on the back foot all night. What happened? I see some of these same people now. See, this is what I do because I watch what people say. When Teofimo Lopez got the decision over Jermaine Ortiz, some people were saying he was on his back foot too much. Some people were saying, oh, you can't take a champion's title when you're on the back foot. Well, in this case, Artur Beterbiev had 3 belts. He's the lineal. And Dmitry Bivol was on his back foot all night. So you have a pressure fighter going forward, 3 belts, lineal champ, and Dmitry Bivol's on his back foot. The other reason why I think Bivol lost the fight, he landed flashy flurries, but very few meaningful punches. Now, yes, he had the faster hands. When you have the faster hands, you're able to land flashy combinations. You'll see that. But that's to be expected in a boxer versus puncher bout, as the way this was touted. Although, as I stated, Artur Beterbiev has a really high boxing IQ, but they just wanted to label him as a puncher because going into the fight, he was 20 wins, 20 KOs, 100% KO ratio, which we'll get back to that later on. But the point I'm making is he landed flashy punches, but the meaningful punches, the punches that hurt, the punches that got a reaction, the punches that sent someone flying back 2 feet were landed by Artur Beterbiev. The judges look at this. You're trained to score that in a pro fight. This isn't the amateurs where you look at some punches in 1-for-1s even. No, if you land a jab and I land a left hook and I send you back, I win. I win that exchange. Yeah, punch stats show it as 1-1, but I win that exchange. Better yet, let's make it dollar for dollar. If you land a jab and I land a jab, but I land a jab that is powerful and it snaps your head back, some would refer to it as a power jab, I win. On punch stats, that's going to go down as a jab, but my jab did more damage. So all punches aren't created equal. And so if someone's throwing flurries, great. They may land 2 or 3, but if they land 2 or 3 flurries, pity-pat flurries, and I land 1 clean, solid punch that pushes them back, I win that exchange, okay? Another reason why I believe that Bivol lost this fight is because he got outworked. He got outworked by the pressure fighter. He got outworked by the pressure fighter landing the more powerful punches who was going forward. Also, this pressure fighter is unified champion with 3 belts, lineal champ at the moment. So again, what you have here is you have this guy going forward, this guy throwing more punches, this guy landing the harder punches, and every now and then Bivol stops and lands a flashy combination. That's great, but this 3-minute rounds, you have to fight 3 minutes in a round, and we'll get back to that in a second. Another reason why I think Bivol lost is because he blocked punches instead of dodging them. And this is important because when you weave punches and you dodge them and you slip them and you make it obvious that your opponent is missing, no one can miscalculate or misjudge whether punches land. You see it all the time. When you pick off punches with your shoulder, when you block them with your gloves, sometimes people have a hard time discerning whether or not a punch landed. So in Bivol's case, he blocked a lot of punches with his body, with his shoulders, picked him off with the glove. But the problem is Artur Beterbiev hits so hard that even when he hits you in the arm, when he hits you in the shoulder, when he hits you on the glove and your glove's on your face, it's still doing damage. So those of you who would sit around and say, yeah, he was blocking, he was picking off a lot of those shots, but it still hurt. And even Bivol admitted that after the fight. Like, yeah, I was blocking shots, but he punches so hard it still hurts. So again, when you talk about doing damage, can you still do damage although someone blocks a shot? Yes, you can. And you saw that with Artur Beterbiev and Bivol. Although Bivol did block some shots and he did block some punches, he still got hurt with a lot of those punches because that's how hard Artur Beterbiev hits. Think about Canelo Alvarez and Callum Smith. Although Callum Smith was just getting hit on the arm, the punches did damage. They hurt his arm. You saw his bicep. It looked like he broke his bicep. It looked like Canelo broke Callum Smith's biceps. So again, you can't just go off of certain things. This is the pro game, and this is where people start talking. This is where you show like levels when it comes to boxing. You start to show levels. Like people are complaining about the scorecards. You saw Teddy Atlas said he thought Beterbiev won 115, 113, and you saw even Garth Davies say he thought Beterbiev won 116, 112. When you get into the pro level, it's different. Like you guys look at, oh, he picked it off with his glove. I'm looking at he got hit and then he reacted like the punch landed because it still hurt. And if you ever been in there, you know, just because you block punches or just because you got the high guard and you're able to pick off some punches, it doesn't mean that the punch doesn't hurt. It still can hurt, especially if you're fighting someone with tremendous power like Artur Beterbiev. So again, another reason why I believe Bivol lost was because he was blocking punches, not dodging and slipping them. And so some people couldn't tell what was landing and what wasn't landing. But even when he did block some punches, it still did damage. And at the end of the day, we're talking about effective punches. And an effective punch is a punch that does damage. All right. So now another reason why I believe that he lost is he was visibly hurt. In pro boxing, rewards power punches over connect percentage. So again, when you have a clear boxer puncher matchup, you expect the boxer to have a better connect percentage because the boxer is the boxer for a reason. The boxer is called the boxer because they're deemed as the more technically skilled person. And even Artur Beterbiev admitted Bivol's more technically skilled than I am. He said that. So if he's more technically skilled, he's faster, all that stuff, he is going to land the flashier punches. He should have a better connect percentage. But at the end of the day, you can't throw out work rate. You can't work out pressure. You can't throw out who's making the fight. Most importantly, you can't ignore who's landing the harder punches. And at no point in that fight did you think that Bivol was about to take out Beterbiev. Go to the 7th round, for example. In the 7th, when he pressed Beterbiev and people were getting excited, that round ended with Bivol being saved by the bell. So even his best moment turned into a better moment for Beterbiev. And then in the 11th round, it looked like Beterbiev was on the verge of stopping this man. It looked like he was on the verge of stopping this man. And let's just ask this question. If they were fighting 15 rounds like in the old days, who do you think would have won that fight? This is what I'm saying to you. In the end, when you visibly hurt your opponent, you get the benefit of the doubt in the pro game. Again, people want to go punch for punch. Like, that's like saying when you watch battle rap, he raps 16 bars and he raps 16 bars, so it's a draw. No, each bar isn't created equal. Right? Just because they both spit 16, each bar wasn't created equal. So someone had the better bars. And if you really want to talk about who had the better bars, it was Artur Beterbiev at the end of the day, because Artur Beterbiev was the one who inflicted the damage. Artur Beterbiev was the boss in the ring. And that's how you can tell who's the boss in the ring. The slower guy going forward, throwing more punches, landing almost the same amount of punches, and hurting the opponent. So that's another reason why I believe that Bivol lost. So now we're going to talk about something else. Judges are trained to spot last-minute flurries to steal the round. This is what a lot of, like, I hate calling people casuals because I feel like people like to make boxing seem, there's a lot of things that go on in boxing, but that doesn't mean that you're not able to have your own scorecard. I mean, everyone can have their own scorecard, but it doesn't mean you're good at scoring, right? See, every time I drop my scores live, and I drop my scores before the judges even drop their scores. When I drop my scores, some people will try to tell me, "Oh, you're out of your mind, you're crazy," and then judges end up having the same exact scorecard as me. Because at the end of the day, I know how you're supposed to score. I've been in round boxing. I've been doing this. I've been watching this my whole life, so I understand what you're supposed to be doing. As someone who may only watch the big fights, they can be swayed by commentary. They can be swayed by this. So again, judges are hip to that trick where someone has been dominating 2 minutes and 40 seconds of the round, or they've been active for 2 minutes, 40 seconds of the round. They've been applying the pressure for 2 minutes, 40 seconds of the round. And in the last 20 seconds, the other fighter gets active and tries to land a flurry and may land 2 or 3 punches during that flurry. It's like, okay, you won this 20 seconds, but there's a whole round where you didn't do anything. Excuse me. And that's what I think hurt Gerald Miller in his fight with Andy Ruiz when he got the draw. I felt like when Gerald Miller did his work, he got the better of Andy Ruiz. But for most of the round, he was just walking, going forward, not doing anything. And here's the key: going forward, not doing anything. And Ruiz was the one who was landing the punches. And that's why I scored that fight a draw as well. And then again, there's another card I put out before the judges put it out. The fight ended up being a draw. Another card I put out was Victor Ortiz versus Boachuk. And I had Victor Ortiz winning. People said I was crazy. Judges scored it the same way. Had to break down this same thing. Michaela Mayer, Sandy Ryan recently. I thought it was easy to score. Michaela Mayer won. Some people, whatever. I'm not getting into it with people. Again, this is the pro game. This isn't amateur. Like when you do some of these arguments I hear, it's about amateur boxing. All right. So another reason why I think Bivol lost, and this is the last reason that I'm going to explain why Bivol lost why I think Bivol lost before I get into another topic as it pertains to this fight. He got greedy in the 7th. Up until the 7th, I thought Dmitry Bivol was doing very well boxing, and I was like, man, Bivol is on his way to giving Artur Beterbiev a boxing lesson. But he landed a decent punch in the 7th, and I think he thought he had Beterbiev hurt. So in the 7th, Bivol jumps on him, and he starts letting his hands go, and then Beterbiev times him, catches him, and ends the round whooping on him. So in the end, Bivol's best moment in the fight ended up turning into an even better moment for Beterbiev, and it changed the fight going into the 7th, the 8th, and the 9th. So to me, the 7th, right, goes to Beterbiev because Beterbiev ended the round. Like, Bivol got saved by the bell in that round. Although he did some great work in that round, he ended up being saved by the bell in that round. And to me, I thought the fighter who was hurt the most in that round was Bivol. Then you go to round 8. I remember this because I was thinking about tweeting it, but I was like, forget it. In the 8th, Beterbiev won that round. He dominated most of that round. And then it was about the last 20 seconds, Bivol wanted to flurry and try to steal it. And he did land about 2 or 3 punches in the last 20 seconds, but you got dominated most of the round. So you don't get that round. Now, let's get to scorecards. What annoys me about boxing is everyone thinks their scorecard is the best scorecard, the only scorecard, and if you scored it differently, something's wrong with you. Like, I hate when I put my score out, I'm watching like everyone else. And if you really want to go back, you can go check my Twitter, Caden the Geek, and you'll see I put the scores out before the judges do, and it's all my scorecard is always in line with the way the fight is scored. And even when there's a real robbery, my scorecard is in line with that. So people want to come and be like, oh, if you can score at 116, 112, oh, that scorecard is ridiculous. Ask them what they scored the fight. I scored at 115, 113. Moron. If you scored it 115, 113, and someone scores it 116, 112, it's not, the difference is 1 round. That means, were there any swing rounds in this fight? Yes, there were swing rounds. The 7th is a swing round. It's a matter of that. You gave 1 swing round to the other fighter. So now you're sitting on this high horse with your self-righteous scorecard. I don't know how anyone can 115, 113. I don't know how anyone can score 116, 112. Moron. 1, nobody cares what you think. And 2, it's a matter of 1 round difference. A robbery or a bad scorecard consists of multiple rounds being swung the other way. It was inconceivable that the scorecard can look that way. That's when it's a robbery. That's when it's a bad scorecard. If it's just a matter of you watching the fight again and saying, you know what, I might swing that round the other way, it's not a bad scorecard. So that's another thing that gets on my nerves. Lastly, with robberies, this is the reason why we can't have big fights in the sport of boxing. Because what you watched last night was a good fight, a tough fight, not very entertaining. It didn't live up to the hype, in my opinion, but was a clear, decisive winner. And people are still screaming robbery, even when it was 115, 113. I seen people say, oh, I had it 114, 114. I see some people saying I had it 115, 113 for Bivol. Again, moron. If you had it 115, 113 for Bivol, you swing 1 round the other way, it's a damn draw. How is it a robbery? Like, people got to get out of their feelings about this. Like, it's not that deep. It wasn't a robbery. You preferred Bivol's flurry style. You probably prefer the amateur style. The pro game is about making money. The pro game is about putting behinds in seats. The pro game is about knockouts. That's what the pro game is about. Okay. So in the end, and I'm saying like moron randomly. I don't think anyone's morons. This is YouTube content creation. I know some people get in their feelings, but the point I'm making is, okay, people got to stop getting in their feelings. When you put 2 great fighters in the ring like Bivol and Beterbiev, 2 undefeated champions, someone has to lose. I know that Bivol has his fans, although I know someone who's definitely not a fan. But at the end of the day, right, just be classy with it. Like, it wasn't a robbery. And if it went to Bivol, I scored it for Beterbiev, I wouldn't have been screaming robbery. My score is 116, 112. I thought that he won decisively. I think some people fell for them flurries at the last minute of the round. I think Bivol got hurt. I think he slowed down significantly. Just look at rounds 1 through 6. Look at 7. Look at what happened at the end of 7. Look at who was dominating the fight. Turn the commentary down because the glazing for Bivol was off the charts. And just look at who looked like the boss in there, who was throwing, who was consistent, who was moving forward, who was applying the pressure. And I'm just going to close by saying this on this topic. If the pressure fighter is moving forward, throws more punches, lands the harder punches, and lands more or just about the same amount of punches as the boxer on the back foot, the power puncher is most likely going to win. Because as the boxer, you're expected to make sure that the punches landed are skewed in your favor significantly. The fact that it wasn't is evidence enough who won, especially when you had a guy going forward and throwing more punches. And again, he wasn't slipping, dodging, weaving, making it obvious that Beterbiev wasn't landing. He was taking the punches on the body. He was getting hit. And even if you block a shot, it can still be an effective punch. And we've seen that in the sport of boxing. Anyway, You can let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm curious to hear it. We have some great topics coming up. A lot. We're going to talk about the Eddie Hearn spin. Oh, he said he needed a knockout in the 10th. All this. So stay tuned. And thank you for watching. Subscribe. Hit the like button. I'm out. It's Caden. Peace.